This offseason, the Arizona Cardinals signed A.J. Green in their continued effort to build a Pro Bowl roster circa 2015. But what can the Cardinals expect from A.J. Green in 2021? The Arizona Cardinals raised a few eyebrows when they signed A.J. Green as a free agent this past offseason. This was due in large part to his disappointing 2020 season and his recent history of injuries. In this video, I'm going to look at A.J. Green's 2020 statistics, look at film from the 2020 season to see what he did well and where he struggled, talk about how I think he's going to fit in the Cardinals offense, and project the kind of stats I think he's going to put up in 2021 with the Cardinals. A.J. Green's 2020 statistics represented a significant drop-off from the kinds of numbers he put up earlier in his career. Green was third on the Bengals with 104 targets, though it is worth noting that the top 3 targeted receivers for the Bengals were all within 6 targets. But on those 104 targets, Green only managed 47 receptions. In fact, his catch percent of 45.19% was the lowest among qualifying receivers. In short, Green didn't catch many of his targets. He ended up with 523 yards and 2 touchdowns. Another noteworthy statistic is that he averaged only 1.7 yards of separation on his targets. This was tied for last among qualifying receivers. In short, Green had a hard time getting separation, and he had a hard time converting his targets into receptions. Let's look at some of Green's 2020 film to see why he struggled in some of these areas. Now, one of the first things you notice when you look at Green's 2020 film is that he struggled to get open against man coverage, especially deeper down the field. A vast majority of the plays I looked at where he was going downfield against man coverage looked like this. Green running down the field and the cornerback going step for step with him, with Green unable to get separation. And these plays often ended up with broken up passes. There were some occasions in which Green was able to make something out of these plays by using his route running, positioning, and size to make a tough contested catch. There were also a few occasions in which he was actually able to get a little bit of separation. But on these rare plays in which he got that separation, it was typically because of nifty footwork and route running and not based on pure speed. Overall, it does seem that Green has lost a step in terms of speed. As much as Green struggled against man coverage, there was another area in which I saw that he excelled in 2020, and that was in his ability to find soft spots in zone coverage. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise. This is the kind of thing you expect to see from a veteran wide receiver. In fact, it's one of the areas where Larry Fitzgerald has made a living in recent years. And I think this is an area where Green could be a real benefit to the Cardinals. Kyler Murray struggled with passes to the intermediate part of the field. He was very good with short passes and also very good with deep passes. If the Cardinals use Green's ability to run good routes in the intermediate part of the field against zone coverage, that could go a long way to help the Cardinals improve in this facet of their passing game. I also saw a few plays where Green did a good job of putting himself in position to help his quarterback out when they were scrambling. And with Kyler Murray's ability to scramble and improvise, Green's ability to get open in these kinds of situations could be very useful to the Cardinals. Having to make so many contested catches against tight man coverage is likely one of the reasons that Green did struggle in terms of converting his attempts into receptions. But there were a handful of plays where you saw Green miss a catch that you would expect a receiver of his caliber to make. So these kinds of missed opportunities certainly contribute to his struggles. But part of it also had to do with poor quarterback play. The Bengals started the 2020 season with rookie Joe Burrow as their starting quarterback. Burrow played pretty well for a rookie, but still struggled at times. But after Burrow suffered a season-ending injury, the Bengals turned to Brandon Allen and Ryan Fidley as their quarterbacks. And overall, you see they rated near the bottom of the league in pretty much every measure except for interceptions. And these struggles were evident in the tape. For example, on this play, Green does a good job of getting position on the cornerback, but the ball is underthrown and the quarterback doesn't give Green a chance to make a play. Now in this next play, we see Green doing a good job of getting open in the intermediate part of the field, but the quarterback's late on the throw and misses a wide open Green. And in what was the most egregious case I saw, the quarterback missed what should have been an easy touchdown by underthrowing Green, leading to an interception. So I watched every single one of Green's targets in 2020, and there were a few other things that I noticed. One of the things I noticed was that over and over again, the Bengals had Green run short slant routes. This was by far the most common type of pass he caught, and this probably contributed to his low separation numbers and low reception percent numbers. Slant routes are typically employed against man coverage, and they're often tightly contested by cornerbacks. You're not often going to get a lot of separation on these kinds of routes, but overall Green was effective at making these tough catches. Another route that I saw Green run pretty frequently were these curl routes or hook routes. Now the Cardinals use these quite a bit, though they're often thrown to DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm not sure if Green's going to see a lot of these routes, since most of them do go to Hopkins, but it's possible we could see Green get some of these looks. Now there's one overarching theme that stood out to me as I watched Green's tape, and I think this is the thing that's going to most benefit the Cardinals in 2021. Green did a really good job moving the sticks, converting third downs and fourth downs, making tough catches in tight coverage. This is where his size, strength, and ability to run good routes and get in the right position are assets to his game. And I think this is one of those places where the Cardinals are going to look to Green, especially if Larry Fitzgerald is no longer part of the equation. And based on his skill set, I think the Cardinals are also going to look to use him in the red zone. A receiver with Green's size and physicality is an ideal red zone target. So after taking the time to look at Green's 2020 film and try to identify how the Cardinals might use him in the 2021 season, I also wanted to try to project the kinds of statistics that I thought Green would put up for the Cardinals this season. In order to do this, I went back to some of the same spreadsheets I used to project for Rondale Moore's 2021 statistics, and looked at what I thought we would see from Green in his role as a number 2 receiver, used in the ways that I think they're going to use him. And based on those calculations, I came up with these numbers. In his role in this offense, I think Green is going to end up with 76 targets, but I think he's going to be more efficient than he was in Cincinnati, and those 76 targets are going to translate to 43 receptions, 519 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now these numbers are actually pretty similar to the numbers he put up with the Bengals in terms of receptions and yards, but I think he'll get a few more touchdowns and he'll earn those yards and receptions on fewer targets. But with DeAndre Hopkins being the target monster that he is, and the Cardinals likely wanting to get the ball to Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk, and maybe even try to see if they can get Andy Isabella involved, plus the receptions that are going to go to the running backs, I have a hard time seeing Green having a monster season. But despite these modest numbers, I think he's going to make some really important plays for the Cardinals, converting third downs. And overall, I think he's going to be a very valuable part of the offense. So what do you expect to see from AJ Green this season? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, please be sure to click like and subscribe to my channel for more Arizona Cardinals content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Cardinal Rule.